Boy, my show is reaching new heights. Whoa. The land of the country giants. Welcome to Music Detectives. I'm Detective Tom. The best way to show support for this channel is to subscribe, so hit that button below. Also tell all your friends. We're still in the year 1970, and Conway has another he'd like to put at the top of the charts. Plus, MGM re-releases a Conway rock tune that also makes the country charts.
And now, a Music Detective song story.
That was the record that followed Hello Darling in 1970. I was playing a nightclub over in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I heard a song on the radio by a boy named Raymond Smith. The song really knocked me out, and I talked to the disc jockeys about it there, and they told me that he was more or less a local boy, and that it was a small label. And I loved the record, so I got a hold of Raymond Smith, told him that I'd like to record it, but that I wouldn't if he didn't want me to, wait and see if his record, see what it did. And he said, no, I wrote the song and I want you to do it now. So I set up a session here and invited Raymond to the session, recorded the song, and it turned out to be one of my bigger songs.
Let's take a look at the reviews. Cashbox stated the song was going to be a monster. Typos were all the rage back then. Record World said that if you're 33 years old, you'll dig the lyric. 15 years ago would appear on the Cashbox country chart in late September 1970, starting at number 43. Throughout October and into mid-November, the song would climb the Cashbox chart. It would reach the top position on November 21st and keep the spot for a second week. On the Record World Country Chart, 15 years ago would show up a week later than it did on the Cashbox and begin at number 66. It would also work its way up the charts throughout October and November. Record World would also crown Conway with another number one hit on November 21st, keeping the spot for just a week. So what about Billboard, the chart everyone is so familiar with today? Well, things got started the latest of all on Billboard. It wouldn't show up on their chart until October 10th at number 63. Billboard quickly moved the song up its chart though, as it would jump from number 63 to number 27 in just 1 week. The stars would arrange in perfect alignment when Billboard 2 would put 15 years ago at number 1 on November 21st. Just like Record World, the visit at the top would be for a single week. And the song wouldn't just stay on the country charts, it would also reach the pop charts, just missing the top 100 on Record World, but breaking through on Cashbox at number 90 and getting up to 81 on Billboard. Sheb Wooley would record a parody song under the name Ben Colder. That song would be called 15 Beers Ago and would be about a man trying to get to the bathroom before it's too late. It's a great parody. Give it a listen and let me know what you think in the comments below. Other artists would cover the song, but we'll touch on them when we look at the vinyl coming up. More recently, the song would be covered as a duet by Leanne Womack and John Prine on his 2016 album, For Better or Worse. Again, have it a listen, let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, while Conway officially only had 3 music videos in his lifetime, you could say 15 years ago, unofficially had a music video thanks to the Statler brothers, who, funny enough, also covered the song. Conway would create this unofficial music video for the television program An Evening with the Statler Brothers, A Salute to the Good Times. It aired September 20th, 1982. It mostly features Conway standing beside an automobile and looking at a house while singing. Conway would also have other unofficial music videos of sorts, and we'll continue to point them out as we continue to investigate Mr. Twitty. So if you saw Conway on this television special, let us know in the comments.
Now it's time for a Music Detective's detailed inspection.
Alright, before we get to the vinyl, let's start off with a Conway Twitty fan quiz. Conway and his band were in this advertisement for what company? The answer coming up later in the show. First, we'll take a look at the 45s. the yellow promo copy, which usually went out to radio stations, and the standard commercial copy, the one most fans had in their vinyl libraries. On the dead wax, we have the matrix number, starting with a 7, telling us that this pressing is in stereo, and the lone 2 on the other side for the pressing plant, Pinckneyville, Illinois. 15 years ago is in big silver letters, and we also see Peach Music Inc. and CSAC for licensing. CSAC really being the smallest of the popular 3, the others being BMI and ASCAP. Conway would attend the CSAC Awards in 1970. Bottom row, second picture, standing with Ralph Emery. The other side of this record belongs to Up Comes the Bottle, written by Conway and the head of Twitty Bird Music, Ellie White. Over on the promotional copy, we see much of the same information. It's just moved around, and it has a much more simple design. In addition to the Statler Brothers and the Prine Womack duet cover, country legend Charlie Pride would record the song. It would appear on his 1971 album, From Me to You. The flip side of the promotional copy would also feature Up Comes the Bottle, which is from Conway's previous album, Hello Darlin'. Before we get to the whole album, we find ourselves with another little piece of vinyl to talk about. Although Hello Darling didn't get this treatment, the album just before Hello Darlin', To See My Angel Cry, did. So once again, we see Little LP out of Chicago doing another round of special 7-inch 33s for the jukebox. We see the orange covered sleeve, and more importantly on the back we have some type. Using a typewriter, they finally included a little more information. We have the LLP number 130, and we now can see the list of songs without having to open it up and look at the record. On the very bottom, produced by Decca Records, especially for Little LPs Unlimited, Northfield, Illinois, just north of Chicago. Although the sleeve said LLP number 130, the catalog number for this record is DL34821. Numbers in the dead wax start with the 7, so stereo. And we have the lone 2 on the opposite side for Pinckneyville, which makes the most sense, since Pinckneyville and Northfield are both in Illinois. Side 1 has Hey Baby, Backstreet Affair, and I Can't Believe That You've Stopped Loving Me. On side 2 is Slowly, She Can Only See the Good in Me, and A Little Girl Cried. Next, we'll take a look at that full 33 album. Let's start with the reviews. Billboard called Conway a consistent winner. Record World simply stated that the album was a winner. Cashbox pointed out that it was almost 15 years ago when Conway hit it big with It's Only Make Believe. Funny enough, It's Only Make Believe was back on the charts at the same time as 15 years ago. This time, fellow Arkansas native Glen Campbell decided to cover the song.
Well, I first heard about Conway was It's Only Make Believe. I really I used to sing it. Boy, I just loved it. And I'd start it as high as I possibly could, and then try to go higher until I realized you can hurt yourself singing like that. But Conway was, that was always a big song in my mind. It was always, I've been singing it ever since it came out, ever since he had it out. Because I was I playing a little club in California. I was doing studio work and playing club work out there. That's been my biggest lasting memory of Conway. And then naturally when I met him and got to know him as a human being, he's a wonderful guy. Quite a showman.
Country Song Roundup magazine will go on to say that Decca first scores again with loads of talent going into the selected tunes. And they ended it with Do Buy It. Here we go. 15 years ago. Conway in a red jacket around some firewood. Out in the forest. About to go camping, I suppose. We also see a little more artwork, a green box with some framing design, along with the list of songs. Up in the corner, we have the catalog number, and in the lower corner, we see the Decca logo. Decca slightly changing things up again. This time the logo is a little more of an outline design. On the back, we have his picture from the front, but with a grainy effect applied. The song list with times and songwriters, and a write-up from the Decca doll herself, Loretta Lynn. Now, Loretta would lose her Decca doll nickname not long after Conway topped the charts with 15 years ago. Loretta's signature song, Coal Miner's Daughter, would top the charts soon after and take her career to new heights. Now before we look at what's inside, let's take a look at a West German cover. You can see the only difference on the front is the Decca logo is gone, and the MCA Arrow logo is there with the catalog number. The back is the same thing, logo and catalog numbers being switched out for their overseas counterparts. Now for younger viewers, a little history. West Germany and East Germany wouldn't get back together until 1990, hence the wording manufactured in Western Germany on the bottom here. While we're looking at covers, let's also take a look at the Capitol Records Club cover. Now with Columbia and the RCA Music Service, it was a lot easier to spot the differences, but not so much with Capitol. Maybe it could be because Capitol's Record Club wouldn't be around very long. The first thing that clues you in is the white around the cover. The cover picture is smaller, and it's actually put together opposite that of the Decca release. Now on the back, the biggest differences are at the bottom. We have a number 16, and the Decca records is gone. Since Capitol had Decca pressed their club records, and since this one was pressed in Pinckneyville, we see that mysterious 998-D marking as well. Well, let's finally have a look inside. The sleeve you should be familiar with now, thanks to my intro, the land of country giants. The promotion was coming at a great time for Decca, as they saw a lot of expansion in the country genre, having not only Conway Twitty on their label, but Loretta Lynn, Kitty Wells, Crystal Gale, Bill Anderson, and many more. Loretta Lynn kicked off the promotion with a 6-week start that saw her selling records in excess of $1.5 million. And of course, Conway would become a mega star after releasing Hello Darlin'. You can see all the artists in Decca's lineup on the back of this sleeve. Quite the force in Nashville, no doubt. Alrighty, let's check out that vinyl. We'll take a look at the Dead Wax. A lone one here is for Gloversville, New York. Up first, on side 1, is Hey Baby, written by Margaret Cobb and Bruce Channel. Bruce would record the song in 1961. He would take it to the top of the Billboard charts in 1962. The song is probably best known for being in the movie Dirty Dancing. The third song on this side is Backstreet Affair, written by Jimmy Rule and Billy Wallace. Mr. Wallace would release the song in April 1952. Now it was offered to Hank Williams, but it was Webb Pierce who would release his version in August of 1952 and take it to the top of the charts. Kitty Wells would also release an answer song, Paying for That Backstreet Affair, in 1953. I Can't Believe That You've Stopped Loving Me was written by Dallas Frazier and A.L. Owens. Charlie Pride took the song to number 1 in September of 1970. Slowly is the 5th song on the first side, and it was written by Tommy Hill and Webb Pierce in 1954. Pierce had the song on the top of the charts for 17 weeks. The song was well received for its inclusion of the pedal steel guitar. The last song on this side is Sand-Covered Angels, written by Sammy Smith. Now she would release the song as a single in 1968. It didn't chart, but have a listen here on YouTube and let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's move on over to side 2. Show you the Dead Wax. There you go. She Can Only See the Good of Me starts things off, written by Ellie White, Betty Jo White, and Conway Twitty. The second song is I'll Come Running to You, written by Connie Smith. She would release the song in February 1967, and it would reach the top 10. Darling Days, written by Dallas Frazier and Sagar D. Schaefer. The song would first appear on Jeannie C. Riley's 1970 album, Country Girl. The album ends with A Little Girl Cried, written by Conway, and Wild Mountain Rose, again a collaboration between Ellie White, Betty Jo White, and Conway. The only difference between the Decca label and the Capitol Record Club counterpart is the fact that there is a manufactured by Capitol Records, Inc., USA, printed at the bottom. The matrix numbers are different too, but it's this small print on both sides that gives it away. The West German label is a bit different, with the MCA Arrow logo forming part of a hexagon in the middle, and then the album title is the only thing in the top portion of the label, and the bottom heavy with information. Same goes for the other side, and the Dead Wax is neatly pressed with the matrix numbers. Onward to the magnetic tape. Obviously, one of these is unlike the others, and is also illegal. I'm sure you can tell which one it is. Just look at this bootleg, the term for the unofficial aftermarket copies that stole from the record companies and the artists. This was such a serious problem that the Country Music Association took the lead in the war against tape pirates. This article appeared in Country Music, November 1974 issue. It states that the music industry was probably losing close to $300 million a year. Now that's $1.7 billion in today's money, and you can see in the photo they have an example using Loretta Lynn's Entertainer of the Year album. Let's get rid of that nonsense and look at the good stuff. Here we have the official Decca release and the RCA Music Service release. How can you tell? Well, check out that S104161 on the cartridge on the right. That's the MCA Music Service internal catalog number. All of their 8 tracks would have an S number. In addition to that number, we see that RCA used the older Decca logo and green ink. This continues onto the back. Now, while the RCA Music Service looks completely different from the Decca, it actually looks similar to other non-club RCA 8 tracks. So they carried the theme along to their music service division. On our Decca issue, it also has a Learjet Stereo 8 molded into it. Learjet was a manufacturer and developer of 8-track cartridge players. Mr. Lear was also the man behind the 8-track cartridge, so it can be assumed that this 8-track was probably some damn good quality. No such mark on the RCA issue. The 8-track would eventually lose ground to these guys, the cassettes. However, it would still be a little while. The 8-track has a leg up on the cassettes during this time period thanks to their inclusion in automobiles. It will take till the end of the decade before the cassettes supplant the 8-track, so finding these cassettes is extremely hard. Now on the right we have the RCA Music Service release, and the left we have the official Decca release. The giveaway again is in the lower corner. On the RCA Music Service on the one on the right, we see a C104161. The cassettes start with a C number. Remember, the 8 tracks start with an S number. As we look at the binding side, we see it's easier to see the difference, as Decca is in white and the RCA is in yellow. The back is the same. The one just has a little more fading over time from exposure to sunlight. Inside we'll see some more differences. Let's put the actual cassettes aside for the moment. Opening up the Decca insert, we see it unfolds to reveal a whole listing of different cassettes available in different genres, along with warranty information. Now the RCA insert looks to start off the same, but quickly we see that there's nothing else printed once unfolded. There are some slight differences with the cassettes themselves. The text is different between the two, and if you look close, you'll see the RCA C number on the rainbow part of the label. The same goes for the other side. It's been quite a few episodes, but it's time for another quick segment of replays. Today we look at another MGM release, usually referred to as Gas 110, and a couple of 45s. This was certainly a smart move by MGM, and they have the chart data to back them up, taking some of Conway's best moments as a rockabilly artist and placing them on this album. Part of MGM's Golden Archive series, hence GAS or Gas. Turning the album over, we see all the other albums also in MGM's Gas series. Going back to the front, the cover is made up of the same Conway photo multiple times. The photo is from his 1960 Greatest Hits album for MGM. A quick look at the vinyl, and we see the Gas 110 handwritten in dead wax, along with the Matrix number. Now looking at the label itself, we see the list of songs, starting with The Story of My Love, and ending on this side with Is a Bluebird Blue. Side 2 starts with Mona Lisa, and ends with What Am I Living For? I do have the Capitol Record Club release of this album as well. And again, we see the small print after the list of songs is all that tells us the difference. Manufactured by Capitol Records Inc., USA. MGM would take the two biggest songs of Conway's rock era and put them together on a 45. As the Record World Review mentions, Glen Campbell has this one on the charts, so it was a good move. But as far as it too getting some chart action for Conway, it just wasn't to be so. That's not to say that other songs wouldn't make a successful bid at finding their way back to the charts from Conway's rock days. MGM would also release another couple 45s after releasing the Gas 110 album. What Am I Living For? And What a Dream would both find time on the country charts. Cashbox would make Conway's What Am I Living For a pick of the week in December of 1970, stating that the tune could result in another giant record. Record World would call it some vintage Twitty. You can see the handwritten dead wax information, and the labels look similar to the 33 design. What Am I Living For would find its way to number 59 after 5 weeks on the Billboard country charts. It would peak at number 46 on the Cashbox country chart on March 6th of 1971, and it would get only to number 70 on the Record World chart. The flip side was I'll Try, which was famously the side that was supposed to make Conway a star, and it wasn't until a DJ flipped the record over to It's Only Make Believe that Conway's career took off. The other 45 we have here is What a Dream. It would find its way up to number 60 on the Billboard Country Chart, all the way to number 31 on the Cashbox, and number 52 on Record World's Country Chart. The flip side is Long Black Train, not to be confused with the more recent hit of the same name by Josh Turner. Two completely different songs. Let's finish up with our trivia question. So what company were Conway and his band advertising? Custom Electronics. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button below. More importantly though, the best way to show your support is to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any shows. Also remember to share this video with your family and friends. They'll be glad you did.